Ever wondered how to crack the quote Ivy League code? I'm Jae, Brown class of 2024, and I'm about to spill the secrets to how I got into multiple Ivy League schools. But here's a twist. I'm not some academic prodigy or some genius. I'm just a regular student who figured out a way to play the admissions game smart. Whether you're aiming for the Ivies or any top school, stick around. You might be surprised in what actually matters in your application and what doesn't. It's no secret that Ivy League schools expect a very strong academic performance. Generally, you'd want to aim for the top 10%, but here's the catch. It's all about context. What I mean by context here is if your high school were to offer 12 AP classes and you take all 12, it's just as impressive if you were to have taken 5 AP courses if your school offered only 5. Yes, I know there is a difference, but really, college admissions, I believe, don't judge students directly. They judge students based on each school. So it's all about just being able to push yourself to your limit within the school that you're at. So even if you don't come from a feeder school like Thomas Jefferson, Exeter, or these top boarding schools, I think college admissions will be able to appreciate the hard work and effort that you put in within the context that you're in. Now, let's talk about awards. You do not need to win a national or international award to get into an Ivy League school. Trust me, I did not win any crazy prestigious awards, and neither did my classmates. Sure, it's great to have some of these awards, but again, I think I go back to my main point about context. It's about how you applied yourself and where you were. And if you spend a lot of your time doing something that didn't really give out awards, I think the university admissions should be able to see that and appreciate that. So just because the Common App section of your awards and whatnot is kind of empty, it's totally fine because mine was too. I personally think your extracurriculars is the most important section of your application. This is where you show the admissions who you are outside of a student context. Here's the key here. It's not about how many activities that you can list as members of, but really about the depth of each activity. I stuck with only a couple activities that I genuinely cared about. The most important one were my e-commerce businesses. I did everything from scratch, building the website, setting up the different marketing flows, finding the product, the supplier, customer management. It was a lot of work, but it meant a lot to me. Some people might say running a business, it's not much of a hobby or a passion that college and universities are interested in, but I just really enjoyed it, being able to deliver some type of value to the end customer and being able to nurture that relationship and figuring out different marketing strategies from content to copyright to like website optimization. There's so many little like toggles and things you could work on. And I ended up generating about $500,000 in revenue. And I think that's what really stuck out. I wasn't part of that many clubs or leadership positions per se at school, but I ended up doing a lot of what students do at school through my businesses. For example, I would set up different products and marketing events to donate to different causes. On the leadership front, I actively managed 3 employees part-time to help me with fulfillment and customer emails. So even though I didn't have a traditional list of activities, I think the admissions officers are able to see the value in what I did because of the depth and time commitment that I made. So what I'm trying to say here is that colleges aren't looking for a laundry list of activities. They're looking for passion and impact. If you can show leadership capability through the role you're given by organizing team members, or if you can show that you can make material and real change within the organization, I think that's what they're looking for and makes an applicant truly stand out. Back when I was balancing all my extracurriculars and academics, I really wished I had Cramify. Cramify is an AI-powered study tool that's changing the game for students, making studying faster and more effective. Let's dive into what makes Cramify a game changer. First up, the voice note taker. Picture this. You're in class and instead of frantically scribbling notes, you simply hit record. Cramify doesn't just transcribe, it creates smart notes, highlighting key points your professor emphasizes. But here's the kicker, it also generates a to-do list so you never forget an assignment or exam date again. What's really cool is that if you upload a past exam, Cramify connects the cheat sheet to specific questions, showing you exactly what topics to focus on for your next test. They also have an exam predictor where you literally upload a past exam and it highlights what's likely to be on your next exam, showing exactly what to focus on in your lecture slides. It even adds tips and direct links for quick reference so you can study smarter and more efficiently. But Cramify doesn't stop there. It even generates quizzes and flashcards tailored to your notes. Back in the day, I spent hours making flashcards by hand. Now, Cramify saves me all that time. You get ready-made study materials with just a few clicks. And here's the best part. All these features work together seamlessly. Your voice notes feed into your flashcards, your exam predictions guide your study focus, and suddenly, you're not just studying, you're mastering your material. Cramify is more than just a study tool. It's your secret weapon for academic success. Whether you're juggling multiple courses, prepping for finals, or just looking to boost your grades, Cramify has got your back. Ready to transform your study game? Head over to cramify.ai or click the link in my bio and join thousands of students who are already acing their classes with Cramify. Next up is what I think is the most important part of your application, the narrative. This is what ties everything together from your awards, academics, extracurricular activities, and your background. It's a story you're telling the admissions team about who you are, why you're passionate about certain things, and how you've gotten to where you are today. And I wouldn't stress too much if you haven't figured out what an ideal narrative looks like. I know exactly how everybody that's watching this video might feel like. I spent hours in College Confidential or Reddit reading like the perfect essays, the perfect applicant profile, and seemingly it seemed like everyone had their things figured out, but the reality is that it's just simply not true. I personally didn't figure out what I wanted to do, maybe really until college, but I think there's a beauty to exploring, and especially at Brown, where there is an open curriculum, where they do actively support the engagement of various different types of subjects. I think maybe I was a better fit there because I had diverse interests. But what I'm trying to say here is that your narrative, you don't need to be like a spiked ball. I was kind of all over the place, and don't worry, because that's just who you are, and being able to just properly deliver that story and why you have all these various interests is already a great narrative in and of itself. So your narrative is your own. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't be worried that you don't have that spiked ball that everybody talks about. Just talk about who you are and what you're passionate about and what you've done so far. So for anyone that's watching this video, especially if you're earlier on in high school, I would really urge you to just sit down, no music, no computers, no phones, and just write down what you could be interested in and what are some different activities, research, and opportunities that you can take advantage of to further explore that interest of yours. If you're a senior in high school that still doesn't know what they exactly want to do, I would talk about it. I would talk about what you've done so far and the journey you've taken and in the process of eliminating things I guess you were interested in. Or maybe it's just a combination of a lot of things. Just, you'll know, you're the only one that can answer that question for yourself. So just sit down and think about it, and the answer will come. And sorry that I couldn't give what exact narrative you should deliver for your college application, but I think if you can just show passion and grit, that is the bottom line most important part of your narrative, in my opinion. If you want to get a little more Brown specific, I would say having cross-disciplinary focus and passions could be helpful because your narrative profile would match better the type of academia and exploration that Brown is a proponent of, if that makes sense. Your essay, this is where you make or break your application. Your personal statement is a chance to show your authentic self. I remember spending weeks perfecting mine. I had 12 different versions of my essays, all different subjects and structures. And I don't know if it helped that much, but it was just driven by pure anxiety. A great piece of pragmatic advice that my friend gave me was that admissions officers read tens of thousands of applications a year, and you gotta figure out a way to stand out. And a method of writing within college applications that people tend to shy away from is the use of humor. Once I did implement it, I thought it made my essay better, and I think it did end up helping me a lot. Your essay should feel like a window into your own world. That's why I would really urge you to not read too many of other people's essays. I think it might dilute your voice and your narrative, and also realistically speaking, it's gonna push your anxiety further just because these essays tend to be super amazing. So if you're not like an amazing writer like I was, I would urge you to not do that and just start early and figure out what your narrative is and just take it slow. Admissions officers know that not everyone's strengths are in writing, so don't be too bothered about crafting something absolutely beautiful. Just make sure it tells them who you are in an authentic, real way. Last but not least are obviously your recommendations. These are super important as it gives the admissions officer a third-party perspective on what kind of student and person you are. I think they generally recommend that you get one STEM and one humanities recommendation, but I would also look to maybe get a recommendation from your boss outside of high school, or just another person that's not involved in your academics but in whatever club or organization that you're part of. Maybe it could be a coach for an outside team that you play for. Here's a pro tip. Treat the recommendation section like an essay section. I don't mean you should draft up your own recommendation and give it to your teacher and mentor to submit to colleges. What I am saying is that they should also have a very clear picture of what your narrative is, what you want to do with your life, and maybe what you want to study. That's going to help the recommendation support your overall narrative and your essays, because your recommenders will think about what you told them while writing the recommendation. Thank you for joining me here today. Remember that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to getting into a top university. Focus on your strengths, find your unique narrative, and don't be afraid to showcase what truly makes you, you. Whether you're just starting high school or in the thick of the application process, I hope you found these insights valuable in helping you feel more prepared and confident. I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Good luck with the application process, and thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my god! I got into brown. Oh my god! I got into brown. I got into brown.